Hello, race fans. Welcome back to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. As tonight we have the Underdog Racing League for their truck series here at the Atlanta Motor Speedways for the season finale here. As we will be crowning the champion who has already technically been crowned as he has locked it up. Jason Finsler and that 5 machine already are series champion, but we do have a tie for second in points, so we'll have to see how that all plays out. But first, let's give a shout out to our sponsor here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and that is ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10 powered race car, from the ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving a physical mass instead of only air, the Gamer 2 provides an instant, accurate, powerful base response, and it's all perfectly in sync with every game with no additional software required. So make sure you go to ButtKicker.com and you can check out their ButtKicker Gamer 2 or their other various products they have there at ButtKicker.com. And you can use Freaky Fast 20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. But thank you for ButtKicker for being a proud partner here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. I'm Zach Hall, and joining me tonight for our season finale is Sam Dyer, and we have Robert Moyer Jr. in the production box. Sam, glad to be back up here with you this week, man. Let's see how these guys can finish it out here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, one of my favorite racetracks.
Yeah, they're going to be slipping and sliding here at Hot Atlanta, and certainly the track is certainly going for that name right now. For the drivers currently, ambient temperature is 88 Fahrenheit, and also looking at the track temp, it's smoking hot. It's almost 130 degrees. These drivers are going to have to worry about those tires slipping and sliding, but like you said, Zach, this is the final race. We can already crown Jason Finsler your trucks champion here for the Underdog Racing League. But before we get to this racing, we're going to touch on what got us to this point. We had 10 drivers all battling for this championship. They had 6 races to see who could be the most consistent and really dominate this series and see who could get the championship. We had Jason Finsler, Ian Baker, Trevor Earhart, Matt Jobe, Michael Leo Jr., Kevin Orlando Jr., as well as Justin Stunner, Sean Hutzstedler, Dylan Walterman, and James Loveland, your top 10 that battled for a championship. And it took us 6 races. This is our 6th and final race. First driver to win was at Dover with Jason Finsler. Ian Baker coming out and winning Super Speedway racing at Daytona for race number 2. And race number 3, we were at Chicagoland where Jason Finsler won. Go to Watkins Glen, Jason Finsler won. You go to Michigan, Jason Finsler won. We're at Atlanta. Zach, who do you think might win this thing?
Well, if I had to make a bet, it'd be tough to bet against the 5. I mean, we see the 5 with Kyle Larson in the Cup Series, what he's doing. Well, Jason Finsler putting up Kyle Larson numbers, just winning week after week and doing it in the playoffs in style. Already got the championship locked up with 1 race to go. Technically had it with about 2 to go. So I mean, this guy is going to fire all season. 13 wins. Can he cap it off with a 14th? We'll have to see. I mean, if he does, that's 27 races for 14 wins. That would be an impressive feat, over a 50% mark.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible to see the feats that this 5 truck has been doing throughout this season. I mean, like you said, 13 wins going into this race, 21 top 5s, 22 top 10s. There was still, I mean, we saw early in the season, I know when I came in, Finsler only had like 3 wins at most. He was tied with Ian Baker and others. Everyone was keeping it close. And then there was just a switch that flipped for the 5 truck halfway through the regular season that just told them, hey, it's time to get out there, run some quick laps as practice has come to a close. Qualifying is about to start. But this is going to be a 120-lap race. They've got 5 sets of tires to work with, which means there's options for these drivers. I mean, there's enough tires there where if you wanted to, you could pit every 20 laps and still have a pretty good shot of your tires being good at the end. But most likely, we're going to be seeing drivers pitting every 30 laps or so. Zach, qualifying here at Atlanta, what are some things that we're looking for when the drivers are taking to the track right now?
Well, I'm going to be looking to see how they do their preparation of their warm-up lap. Each track, the warm-up lap and the first lap can definitely be some type of preparation towards that faster lap. Some tracks are producing faster laps on that first lap, I think here in Atlanta, with this being a mile and a half, somewhat generating more and more speed as these guys go throughout the laps here, I believe you're going to see the fast lap become on that second lap. I want to see if anybody out there does any type of preparation on that first lap where they save a little tire. Don't take the full extent out of it. As you see, actually, the 15 here on his first lap. Not going to the bottom. Doesn't look like he's really getting on it too much as he's building the heat in those tires and not taking a critical wear out of the tires also. So he's doing it exactly how I would do it. And from here on out, from 3 and 4, you need to build the speed up. And that second lap is the burner lap. You cannot make a mistake because that's the one that's got to count.
That's John Magner in the 15. Starting his time as we are riding on the hood, getting a little bit of a sight running up to that NASCAR sign, and right down to the white line, trying to hold steady. Getting a pretty good run, but these drivers coming out of the corners, it just seems like the loose sensation is the biggest factor they got to worry about coming out of the corner. As one of those drivers that had issues, is everyone is on the track. They've got 5 minutes to put down the best time. They've got 2 laps to do so. For Nate Morris, he's second on the board, but his second lap he messed up, sliding through 1 and 2. Looks like he is going to be stuck with the time that he's got. But currently top of the board, Justice Murphy, one of those drivers that's really been hitting a new gear for qualifying week after week. It seems like since we've hit playoffs, he's always a contender to be up front in our top 5, top 3 for qualifying. It's race pace that we got to be concerned for the 18.
Yeah, if he can find that extra gear like he has in qualifying in the race, we could see him possibly compete for a win with Jason Finsler, you know, some of the top guys here. I mean, it's going to come down to he's got to find a little bit more just because he's had the speed, but hasn't had everything to back it up going into the race. We'll have to see if somewhere tonight can be that final time and that final chance he has to piece it all together here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
We're now looking at the 5 truck. This is Jason Finsler. He clinched the championship in the trucks last week with getting his win at Michigan. Here at Atlanta, this is kind of just his celebration run. Coming out of turn 4, this is his first time to lap. We'll see if we can put him on top of the board early, or we'll see exactly where he stands. Moves up, first lap already top of the board. I mean, this is incredible for the 5.
Yeah, that's a demoralizing lap time, too. I mean, a 31.607 to a 31.756 there in second. And then all the way back to, I would say, to the 5th position. I mean, that's almost 3/10 of time separating those drivers. That's a pretty big gap when it comes to mile and a half with the trucks. So Finsler really good on the lap. And I tell you what, he did it on the first lap, contrary to what I was saying about watching to see if you guys do a preparation lap to get a little heat in there. He had so much speed, he just used it all up on the first one.
Did it his first lap and then decided, you know what, we'll just coast it from here on out. I mean, Finsler, we knew he was going to be the favorite coming in. The question for everyone else is, how is the tire strategy going to change up this field? A little bit of a smaller field than what we've been having. 19 drivers showed up for tonight's race, but I believe we're only going to be having a total of 18 running because I think Dennis Steele is going to be up in the booth. Up in the controls, making sure that everyone gets the right penalties. Everyone's penalties get clear when it needs to be cleared. Race control, Dennis Steele in the booth ready for action. But 30 seconds left for qualifying. Only driver that's out there on track is going to be that of Marshall Wilson. And Marshall Wilson, last time we saw this driver have a great run for himself and got a win, was at Talladega. Since then, it's been a rocky road for the 23. And it looks like he's got enough time to at least put 1 lap down as the 23 machine. He's going to have to motor his way through as he is not having the best run coming out of turn number 2. He's not going to be able to finish his time at all as Marshall Wilson's going to be starting the back of the pack.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be everybody who's put a time down. 3 seconds left. That's going to bring it into it all there, Sam, is Jason Finsler. He's going to be your pole setter. What a lap there from him.
Qualifying's done. It's time for us to figure out who's going to be winning the final race of the season. Like we stated, we already know our championship driver. That's Jason Finsler winning here for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series Utter Dominance. But for today's race, that 5 trucks on the pole position. by over a full tenth. I mean, this is some ridiculous speed, very close to his practice time. And that is going to be terrifying for the rest of the field. Nick Alva is going to be in second place with Justice Murphy in third. Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be in fourth place. Fifth is going to be James Loveland. Loveland's going to be one of those drivers to watch out for because when tire wear is a factor, we always see the 56 up front. That's going to be Matt Jobe in sixth. Nate Morris going to be in seventh. Brett Somers is going to be in eighth place. Great qualifying time for the 7 machine as well for Christopher Heights in ninth. Justin Studdard, very odd qualifying for the 33. We'll wait and see if he can move forward. Well, that truck's going to be stalling out early on. Trevor Earhart going to be in 11th. John Magner in 12th. With that of Preston Presley, with Peyton Presley in 13th. Scott Kerberg going to be in 14th. Sean Hutstutler, the professor, in 15th. With that of David Boyle going to be in 16th. And then it's going to be in 17th place, Dylan Walterman, with Marshall Wilson not putting a time down. Drivers are now waiting to get rolling as Dennis Steele going to be just letting the timer roll for these drivers for the next 30 seconds. But Zach, as we're getting ready to go green, what are some factors that these drivers got to worry about early on in these runs?
Well, early on in these runs, you're going to have a lot of grip. You're going to say, I feel like Superman, these 4 tires feel great. But if you go out there and abuse those tires for the first 10 laps, you're going to be struggling for that next 30. We got a stage at lap 40. We can make it on fuel to theirs. Looking around 47 laps on fuel here tonight. So really just got to plan your tire wear out. And the big thing with 5 sets of tires, it seems pretty straightforward with the tires. So thinking a tire set at stage 1, and then we'll have an 80 lap run to the end, and then you'll have to one stop it if it stays green. So got to keep that in mind. And if it comes down to a long run, it's all about conserving tires. So this first stage has got to be critical in learning how to better your tire wear compared to the rest of your competition.
Stage 1 is going to be coming to a close at the end of lap 40 for these drivers. They also have 1 fast repair, so if they get caught up in an early incident, their race is not over until that 1 fast repair is used, and then they're wrecked out again. But based off what I saw during practice and during qualifying, the loose sensation, something to worry about. Zach, looking at the temperatures for these drivers, still 86 degrees is that ambient temp. 123 degrees is the track temp, so a little bit cooler than what it was for practice, but still extremely hot. These drivers are going to have trouble here tonight.
Lots of trouble for sure, Sam, and as the rubber lays down, it should bring them a little bit of grip and front-end grip, but we'll have to see how this track changes as it goes through a wide variety of swings here through 120 laps.
Well, it took us a total of 26 races. These drivers put in a lot of work to get to this point. Jason Finsler, the most consistent of them all, won the most of them all, and now gets to lead them to the green here for the final race at Atlanta for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series for this season. It's Jason Finsler up front, Nick Alves to his outside as we head into turn number 1.
And right now it's just double file action. This first few laps here going to be somewhat close to wide open. Going to have to breathe the throttle just a tiny bit, but very close to wide open racing here early on.
Drivers up front trying to be conservative as Jason Finsler just going to be giving the inside lane. There goes Nick Alves trying to make the pass for the lead and hoping to lead lap number 1 for the 24. Nick Alves is the first time we've seen him up in the top 2 in a long time.
He's looking very strong there in that second starting spot. Held on to that so far through the first lap. And he was taking a challenge at Finsler, but look at this already. We're seeing different lines in use, and that's one of the beauties we have here in Atlanta. Different lines available for these drivers. We've got an updated track surface, and I can tell you, it's going to move all around here. You're going to see guys running from top of that wall all the way down to that white line.
Jason Finsler, the most bravest of them all, through the center of the corner, going right up to the outside lane, practically just wall riding it through 3 and 4. We'll see through 1 and 2, and everyone's single filing out until you go back to around 8th place, where that's Nate Morris, Brett Somers, and others still side by side. Haven't really left each other, but battling for second place. Here comes Justice Murphy.
And here we talked about Murphy finding that next gear in the race. He's trying to find the next position right now as we go through 3 and 4, but let's see at the outside line for Vels here. Oh man, back in the pack, there's some 3-wide action going on too there as that settles out off of 4. As Alves holds on to it, Orlando Jr., he takes advantage of the 18 to Justice Murphy going to the inside. He takes his outside.
Justin Murphy certainly thought he had a run to make it past for second place, but he stalled out once he equaled at the same stint as the 24. Now it's going to be that of Kevin Orlando Jr. giving it a shot through 3 and 4. To the inside is the 27, and he's going to try to do a slide job move. He's moving up. He's just clear if he wants to get in front of the 24, and just like that, Nick Alves got too close to the outside wall. He had to back out of it.
And that was a good call by him. We're in stage 1 here. You cannot take chances to get into the wall and get damage. It's just not a right idea to have, especially if you have a move faster player. You don't really want to have any other damage unless it's critical damage to use that on. And we're seeing right now, it looks like Loveland going to take a chance on Alves, but Alves doing a good job of staying out of that wall.
They're trying to make a charge forward. James Loveland talked about how when it's aggressive tire wear on courses, it's the 56 that just seems to come to be the cream of the crop of drivers who know how to save their tires for the long run. Now up to 4th as Nick Alves. In just the first 5 laps, those tires already looking toasted for the 24.
Yeah, he slid back a few positions here, but we do normally see the 24 be pretty quick on the long run, so I'm wondering if this is just a stylistic thing where his race pace is going to be a little bit slower than the guys around him, but as this run goes on, we get a little bit of heat and temp in these tires. Around lap 40 when we have our stage, he might be creeping back near the top end of that top 5.
Drivers certainly shuffling back and forth. Where do they want to place themselves? As we're seeing side-by-side action, it's Christopher Heights and also Stunnard who are keeping it close. Then behind them, Matt Job and Heights, they continue to race on. Brett Summers in 11th, though. Surprised to see the 7 drop back so quick. He started, one of the drivers in the top 10 in 8th place. He's now dropped out of the top 10. Watching some great side-by-side action. James Loveland, though, he's watching the battle for second place, waiting and lingering for someone to make a mistake up front.
Looking back now, Nick Alves still holding on to that 5th position. Nate Morris here in the 6th position, directly ahead of that 25 of Trevor Earhart as they battle down the back straightaway. They have Justin Stunner there in the 8th position, not too far behind. But from here on out, it's just single file right now, spread it out a little bit. But I tell you what, Justice Murphy, looks like Orlando Jr. going to get by him to put himself up in second.
I'm just wondering for these drivers, stage caution going to be coming on lap 40, and the drivers got to be focusing on, they have 5 sets. Usually when you've got 4 sets, when you come to these mile-and-a-half courses, your goal is to make sure you got 1 extra set to work with, which would put these drivers with a 3 stop in mind. Do you think these drivers are going to be trying to push it, though, to make sure they pit when stage 1 comes around?
Yeah, I think at this point it's kind of a no-brainer. We have 5 sets here tonight, so 4 in the pits. I'm looking at really just a 2-stop race, especially if it stays green. Cautions will throw a whole different spin into this, but if we stay green, get all the way to the end of the stage, you take a set here, that's going to still leave you with 3 sets of tires, and you'll be able to 1-stop it from there once we finish that stage. Then you'll still have 2 sets left, so still 2 sets left if some cautions happen. I think that's plenty of tires. These guys, we'll see how they play the strategy. You never know when cautions get in there, though. That's what throws the wrinkle in all of this tire limit strategy, too.
Driver that I've been watching is Trevor Earhart in 7th place. He's had probably one of the weirdest exits out of the corner. He was practically exiting off of the apron, and now he's loose, and he's sliding through into the inside wall. Holding on is the 25. And with that pour of exits that he was having that last lap on the apron, I mean, that's going to be burning up the tires and just getting out of control out of 2 for the 25.
Yeah, and, we're seeing a lot of guys run this outer groove here, and I know from experience this outer groove can have a wide variety of balance changes to your race car. It really depends on how you're driving in and what tire you're leaning on, but I'm starting to see a lot of guys losing the right rear on exit, and that is due to running that higher line. You run up top, you're going to burn the right rear off a little bit more. You run down low, you're going to burn the right front off a little more here. So it's one of those things you got to pick. And even our leader, Jason Finsler, he about wrecked guys up front. He literally just had a huge moment in the center of the corner. That scares me for how long this run still has to go.
If the guy who's been most dominant all season long is feeling that loose sensation already, you got to be concerned for the rest of the field. As this is Still one of the crazier things. Second place, Kevin Orlando Jr. gets out of shape and he'll hold on. Still in second, but everyone is getting out of control. The driver who's been looking the most stable got to be James Loveland in third, who's just loving the action in front of him with the drivers having such troubles in just the first 13 laps of this race. Now the start of lap 14.
Yeah, and Justice Murphy is one of those drivers suffering really bad from the rear traction loss. He slid back to 6th now from that 3rd spot. And I tell you what, the lower line, you can see Loveland and both Orlando Jr. a little bit lower line. I like that line. It's going to have a little bit less of an effect on that right rear tire. And, man, if anybody's running, you know, the highest line you possibly can, it's definitely Finsler. So you can see and you can tell that truck just wiggling. So, man, he's going to have his work cut out for him here as we complete lap 15.
I know we were saying that the drivers might think about stretching it to stage 1, but I just don't see, with the way that these tires are just getting looser and looser as the run goes on, I don't know if they can make it that far, as Trevor Earhart, another driver, got out of control at it too, again, able to hold on. But it's just looking ridiculous with some of the drivers and the ways that they are getting out of control. And now the battle for the lead is here comes Kevin Orlando Jr. once again, right on the 5's bumper. Jason Finsler might have had the fastest during practice and qualifying pace, but right now we're seeing that loose sensation hurting the 5 on the longer run.
Yeah, and he almost took down the wall there. Here goes Orlando Jr. We're right on board with him. He's inside of the 5. Not going to be able to get it done there. See, he's got to pinch it down. He's going to lose a little bit of the rear there. Slides in between him and James Loveland and the 5. But, man, this is getting dire moments for the 5. He's getting very close to this wall in 3 and 4, 2 in the center a few times. If he hits that wall, especially with how loose that truck is, he's going to lose it.
I mean, this is giving me flashbacks of how Homestead kind of went, with the fact that everyone stayed high, and once they started getting loose, it was Loveland who found that the low line was the better place to stay from start to finish, because overall the consistency of the pace would outlast everyone else. Loveland still staying low, and behind them it's going to be Justice Murphy once again out of control, almost taking out Matt Job. And also behind them still Trevor Earhart might just want to just park it, as John Magnaro's having troubles into the wall. Got to be careful, as drivers got to be, oh my goodness, they're all over the place.
Sam, it's a tongue twister right now of crazy stuff going on. It's definitely the time right now where the tires are meeting the cheese grater of a track called Atlanta Motor Speedway, and these drivers are figuring out pretty quickly. I think you're going to see a similar thing that we've seen at Homestead, where Loveland was able to make the bottom work and figure out that was the best case for the long run. And I really wouldn't be surprised if some driver can figure it out at some point, because everybody elected to run that top side. Most of those drivers who really attacked on that top side have turned into sideways cars at this point.
The biggest risk is, you know, some drivers might be thinking around lap 30 to come pit just to get fresh tires, but the risk of coming in at that time is, yes, you'll have the fresh rubber. The potential of a caution coming out is very high because of all the drivers having such major issues for themselves.
Yeah, and if you're going to pit, you're definitely going to have to do it at latest lap 30. Because you're going to have to get yourself back on that lead lap too, because you will lose a lap here pitting under green. So that's going to have to be a thing they keep in the back of their mind. If they're going to, if you're going to be stopping, lap 20 would personally be right around the perfect point to take a set of tires, just because it's going to half that. You're going to get back on the lead lap for sure, and you're going to have the backup of having a more stable truck, and being for sure you're not going to take yourself out of this thing, because it's so easy just to make one little slip up, and that thing goes for a ride, and you cannot save it.
I think if you pit on lap 20, you're just going to have to pit every 20 laps at that point, which is going to use up all 4 of your sets in pit road. If you can push it out to maybe lap 30, possibly just stay out there and not pit under the stage caution, and then just pit on lap 60 and then on lap 90, you should be all right for the rest of this race. And that's also cutting down a pit stop from, if you were pitting every 20 laps. Man, it is it's just the strategy calls that I think these drivers have to make. I don't think any of them were expecting this car to get as loose as it is right now, but I think everyone's starting to settle down, recognizing, hey, let's not get too aggressive, as Summers right against the outside wall and now drifting across off of turn 4. What a save for the 7.
Yeah, and the same moment for our leader, Jason Finsler. He was no longer our leader. He slides back to 3rd. Big slide off of 4. That puts Kevin Orlando Jr. out front, James Loveland up to second. And I tell you what, this dirty air though on the five's nose, it may help. Just because you're following someone, that does take a little bit of that front end turn away, and that's going to make that rear end being stepped out a little bit better. So it definitely can affect you getting here in this dirty air now, but we'll have to see if he can recover at this point. But yeah, it's such a tough question, Sam, because at some point here, these cars should swing to a little bit of the tighter side. It's almost like you got to weather the storm type of deal. You go out there, have a lot of grip, you lose the grip on the rear end, and then you start to lose the front end grip, and it starts to match up here as we have the battle for the lead now. Here goes Loveland to the inside. Can he make it work? Let's see. It looks like he does clear. He slides up into the lead. James Loveland, your new leader.
James Loveland, what a great job for himself for the 56. He was being patient and waiting, and finally up front after 23 hard action racing laps. Lap 24. That's when we get to see some lead changes happening. Finsler back to third. I think if anyone could really, pit early and make a charge, it would be the 5 who could have pitted on lap 20 and would have been all right. But like I said, that risk of a caution coming out so high. And I just feel like I'm watching a road course race at some points, just because it seems like it's picking and choosing on who's having an issue and who's not. Because right now, Kevin Orlando Jr. to the lead after a mistake by the 56.
Yeah, the 56 gets the lead there, gets the clean air on the nose, and I'm telling you guys, it is a completely difference off when you're getting clean air as just very close off the exit too there. But the clean air difference from not being in clean air is so huge. You actually have to almost have a lap to get used to it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Loveland gets a hang of it here, but he's looking very loose out front at this point.
I think Loveland's now understanding why the leaders were running high. It was working out for them. I mean, at the same time, Loveland was running low. I mean, he wasn't in the tracks of dirty air when he was running low, and now on the high side where he hasn't been all race long. It's now given a shot here for Nate Morris to catch up to our top 3. The 22. He's one of our drivers that have won at a 1.5-mile course. It could be the chance for Nate Morris to get a win for himself. But Justice Murphy looks like he has parked it for the day, does not want to handle this beast anymore.
Oh no, not a great finish there for the season finale for him after qualifying that 3rd spot. But unfortunate for Justice Murphy. He'll have to take the next season in the Xfinity car. But man, I tell you what, at this point, Loveland just out front doing a great job, but he has had to move up to that outside line. Like you said there, Sam, wasn't used to that. I'm surprised he hasn't tried the bottom yet in the clean air. This would definitely be an interesting time to try it, but with Finsler so close, I think he doesn't want to get up that outside line.
Wrecking on turn number 3 is Peyton Presley. No yellow waves as he is low, engine blown. As up front, still they continue to race on, as that's now 2 wrecks in a row. No yellow flies.
Yeah, it's so spread out at this point. It's sometimes very hard to get a caution when it gets to this point, just due to the fact of how spread out everybody is. When you wreck, you're kind of by yourself, and you're off the track. It's going to throw a yellow here on iRacing. So you're going to have to get it back going. But I tell you what, Nate Morris, if he can get past Kevin Orlando Jr., who looks like to be somewhat holding him up here, he could have a shot up here at these top 2, as Finsler has recovered after Loveland's got by. But man, it's going to be interesting after the stage ends to see what these guys learned for that final stage.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of information to be gained of how well do I need to save my tires next time, or do I need to burn up tires quicker? So yeah, it helps the car in the later runs. There's going to be a lot of information for them to take in. As up front, still, Jason Finsler battling hard for the lead, as you're still right on top of one another. And just like that, Jason Finsler right back to the lead. It took him only 6 laps to lose it and get it back. I mean, this 5 machine just does not give up at all. He wants to get another win notched on that belt to say, hey, I'm the champion coming into this race, and look at me win. As now Loveland's starting to get that loose sensation out of the corner.
Yeah, it's almost like the car that leads is just the car that has the troubles after a few laps of leading out there. So we'll see here in the final 10 laps if it swings back to the loose side for Finsler. But he may have figured something out behind these guys. He sat there, cooled his tires down, figured out how much grip level he needed, And maybe he's figured it out now because he's actually gapped them pretty well as they race side by side down into one with Loveland trying to clear Orlando Jr. Yes, he does now slide up in front of him, but he's going to be dead loose here on the exit.
I mean, these guys just putting on a show up front. Do want to give note, Justice Murphy, he wrecked coming out of turn number 4 after hitting the inside wall. Engine Blue decided not to even use his fast repair, just said, you know what, I'm not going to risk it anymore as we're on board with Nate Morris. You just see the loose sensation as the wheel, he has to just crank it a little bit to the right, trying to save that loose sensation on the inside. It's just not risky. I mean, just staying on board. You can see how loose this car gets coming through the center and off the corner. Also for Peyton Presley, he wrecked coming out of turn 2 and also into the inside wall blowing his engine, but he has used his fast repair back out on track.
And it's just very low grip conditions right now for these drivers. And you can see, I mean, right on board for Morris, I mean, inside lane trying to make it work. He does clear Loveland. Slides up into that spot there in third now. And man, can Orlando Jr. get back up to Finsler here in the next 7 laps will be the question. Is seems like whoever gets out in the lead just can run a few good laps out there, then it starts to really affect the balance of that racetrack.
I'm also wondering for James Loveland, when he took the lead, did he feel like, hey, my tires are just so much better, I can take off and be aggressive after knowing he was past the halfway of stage 1? Stage 1, again, at the end of lap 40, that's when stage 1 will come to a close as Loveland up into the wall, and he is losing ground and has some right side damage.
Oh no, that's not good at all for the 15. That's a huge amount of loss of time, and damage here is never good at this high-speed racetrack. He's going to have Alves and Matt Joe directly behind him. Not good for that 56 in the final race. But it's very possible, Sam, what you said he did. I mean, I know from past experience driving, you know, sometimes you take the lead and you feel like, man, my tires are so superior that I need to just push and get the lead out there and I'll be fine. But you get that lead, you start to push a little too hard, and then you find yourself back behind that person you passed a few laps ago.
Loveland continues to just drop back as Nick Alves, who we saw battling for the lead at the start of the race, qualified second. He is currently now just puttering along in 4th place, looking for a top 5 finish. And with Loveland having an issue, Matt Jobe looking for another top 5 finish for himself. And there's a lot of bickering going on in the middle of the field of drivers that touched on that have been having a lot of issues with their tires. Stunnard, Earhart, they have been having such a terrible race, yet still battling for a top 10 finish for themselves.
Yeah, still trying to get some stage points for themselves. But I tell you what, while this battle's going on, the lead is battling again down to Orlando Jr. to the inside of Finsler. They got lap traffic on Walterman here off the exit 2. It's getting dicey here. It's going to be coming to 4 to go this next time by.
Dylan Walterman, our super speedway winner at Talladega. And now the question is, how many drivers are going to be left on the lead lap when this thing's over? Because just like that, Dylan Walterman's going to go a lap down. Luckily, Karaberg's pretty far ahead, but just Finsler, he has to back out because if he starts to get loose or tight off the corner, he's running so high against the wall that it just hurts the 5. He has to let off the throttle, and overall, that is one of the biggest weaknesses that we are seeing from the 5 currently, but we know he can fight back. He just is cooling off those tires currently.
Yeah, and he's going to have to do it pretty quickly here, but man, Nate Morris, he's the driver these guys are going to have to watch for the next stage. He's the one that strove from the farthest up to the front. We'll see what he can produce. As here we are, 3 to go in the stage, down in 1 and 2. It's a 3-truck train. That is the exit off the 2. Oh, Orlando Jr. decides to take the bottom. He gives the 5 a little bit of a look there to the outside, but he goes Finsler to the bottom.
Jason Finsler does not want to give away a stage win to cover Orlando Jr., but Orlando Jr. going to be staying high. If he can keep the pace and the momentum, here they come. Funneling contact made for our leaders as they were coming out of turn 4. You had Finsler, who was pushing up, Orlando Jr., who was just trying to stay off the wall, and contact made as they are still side by side going 1 through 1 and 2.
Oh man, this is shaping up to be a heck of a finish. Oh, Finsler a little loose there, you can see. Oh, very close to the inside left rear quarter panel of that 27. As we go down to 3 and 4, we're going to be looking for the white flag for this stage here this time by. And what can Orlando Jr. do to hold off the 5? The 5 looks to be a little bit quicker in dirty air, but the 27 out front here, 1 lap to do this. Can Finsler get back by?
Finsler trying to deke him out, trying to go high, trying to go low, just going to be following in the tracks of the 27 through 1 and 2, trying to build up that momentum. Jason Finsler's right at the bumper. We saw him contact out of 4. Nick, I think Nate Morris, he might want to think about backing up. He's in position to make a win, but maybe avoid a wreck if these two get too racy here. Coming through 3 and 4, Jason Finsler, he's just going to stay in the tire tracks and just take second place as they come out of turn 4.
Oh, man, what a stage for Orlando Jr. as he's able to get the victory here in this first stage in the final race. This sets us up for such a great finish at the end of this race, especially if these guys are going to be doing 40-lap runs like this. Man, we could see this exact same thing coming down to the checker flag yet.
I mean, absolute competitiveness for our top 3, and the driver that was 4th battling with them, James Loveland, faded all the way back to 10th place after damaging his right side after bouncing off the wall. Just showing damage is going to be hurting these cars a lot if you touch the wall at all during this race.
Yeah, touching the wall is a huge issue. I mean, Loveland, prime example, just drifted all the way back to that 10th position, and just not a good first stage for him in that number 56 machine. We'll see if he can rebound. He had the pace, but with that big mistake, slid himself backwards.
Well, it's going to be Kevin Orlando Jr., James Loveland, Nate Morris, Matt Jobin, Nick Alves, your top 5, doing exactly what was needed to do and stay up front, showing that they've got speed. Everyone's setting up to go into pit road, and I mean, here for our first pit stop, we've only seen that of Peyton Presley come in about 13 laps ago after him getting wrecked out of early in stage 1. He's trying to rebound 2 laps down for himself. Dylan Walterman going to be our lucky dog of today's stage 1 caution. Everyone comes into the pits.
Yep, everybody, they're screaming for tires right now, Sam. They are. if you ever needed to know how bad they want tires, these guys would have definitely been pitting very soon under green, and they're luckily here having the stage caution a few laps earlier than a full fuel run, and they're definitely feeling the extent of that. It's so tough to get around this place during a full run.
James Loveland, one of the drivers, I'm wondering if he's thinking, I mean, he overshot his pit box. He's already going to be losing time. Is the 56 going to just linger with that damage? I mean, he has a lot of front right damage that was bogging him down. And it looks like he's not going to be taking any fast repair for the 56, so he's going to be probably using that on his final green flag pit stop if this thing stays green. Dylan Walterman, another driver that has some right side damage after bouncing off the wall, and just looking through the rest of the field, really the main drivers that have that damage is the 46 and the 56.
Yeah, and I think it's a smart move not to use that fast repair for the 56. You never know what could happen here in this next restart. You don't want to use that then get caught up into something very bad here right at the beginning of this. So it kind of gives you another hand in the back of your pocket to be able to use somewhat of a joker card. But man, looks like Finsler won that race off on pit road, and he'll be back in the lead with Orlando Jr. in second. Morris in third, Job in fifth, and Job in fourth, and Alves in fifth, rounding out your top 5.
Trevor Earhart is going to be another driver that has a lot of right side damage. He was a guy that I saw coming off of turn 2 very loose at least 4 or 5 times during that first 40 laps of this race. But when we go green, it's going to be about 75 laps to go for these guys. Means you can split this thing in half if you pit around lap 32-ish, 32 to 33, kind of a window these drivers might be thinking about. Or they could be pushing it as far as they can go, which we know that they can go at least 40 laps. Might be thinking about 45 laps.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, 47, I think, with the extent is as far as you'll see anybody be able to go. Will somebody push that far, try to get that caution, try to, have the tires at a fresher range in the last part of the run? I mean, we'll have to see, but I think what you said at the beginning, Sam, splitting it up about in half is what most drivers are going to stick to.
I mean, you really don't want to risk yourself out. I mean, unless, a lot of these guys still have fast repairs. If you feel like trying to stretch it as far as you can, and if you accidentally brush the wall, it's okay. You got that fast repair. Just stretch it out so you got the freshest rubber. We know when they finished that stage 1, they were running about a little bit over 2 seconds slower than some of their best times. So there could be, some space for these drivers to find some speed to catch up. But certainly, if there is a caution that waves, still plenty of tires to work with, as this is only most of these drivers' first set of tires. Still have 3 others left to service here. At least one more pit stop for these guys to finish out this thing. So 2 sets of figuring out, early caution. I just want to take for, a set if we're 5-10 laps into a run.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you got a lot of extra sets, so you might as well use them if you got them, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we got a 10-lap, 15-lap run. Someone decides to definitely come down and change to a next set of tires.
Well, we're stacked up, ready to go. It's going to be Jason Finsler, your Trucks Championship winner this season. He clinched it last week at Michigan. He's won 4 out of the 5 playoff drive races that so far in our six race playoff situation. And right now, Finsler's looking for win number 5 of the playoffs, win number 14 of the season. As we are green, Jason Finsler, great launch for himself. It's now Nate Morris up to second as Orlando Jr. stays high.
Morris up to second. He was our hard charger through that first run. This is probably not a sight that the rest of the field wants to see, because if he can get out front, he may be able to pull and stretch a little bit of a gap, because he was able to run those guys down from about 3 or 4 seconds back.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for him, though, was the fact that he backed up and was not trying to push his car at all early in stage 1, which allowed him to have the tires to push himself forward. Right now, being aggressive early on, we'll see how that works for himself. But a lot of the drivers in the middle of the field, they got to be careful here after 5 laps, how those tires are going to be reacting with that loose sensation that builds up the longer the run goes on.
Look at this, Orlando Jr. trying to get that second position back after getting the stage win. Looking very fast tonight in that 27 machine, but don't look too far behind the 27 and the 22. There's the 89 of Matt Job. I tell you what, Sam, he's one driver that always seems to have very good tire wear and has great run at the end of the runs, or great pace at the end of the runs. And I would not be surprised to see him possibly slide up into his top 3 if we get a really, really long run, green run here.
Absolutely not. And then in 5th place, that's Christopher Heights, who's just been slowly marching his way forward in 5th place, staying there. And Trevor Earhart, even with the damaged 25 truck, he's up to 6th place, with Nick Alves dropping back to 7th. I mean, qualified in 2nd for that of Nick Alves, and Alves he has been trapped on figuring out how to continue with the race pace here today. It just has not been great, as now a chance for the lead. Here comes Kevin Orlando Jr. to the inside.
Oh, man, what a pass here. I think Finsler, though, we saw him gap the field there during the first run. He probably has learned his lesson. We've seen drivers this season learn their lesson during the first stage to try to get better to compete with this 5. Maybe he used this first stage similar to what the rest of the drivers have been the rest of the season to get better as this race goes on.
I don't know if we're watching Atlanta or some Super Speedway racing. They're all in line. And then behind them, all the way back in 3rd place, it's going to be side-by-side action as Heights now trying to get by that of Morris. And behind Heights, you've got Earhart and others still trying to use the fresh tires to be aggressive, as our front 3 stay in line and are just trying to wait this storm out.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's, it's one of those things where it's cat and mouse, it's, no, you go ahead and lead. You just go ahead and burn your stuff up. But at some point, everybody's going to be going too slow, and you're giving up too much time. So we'll have to see who does it exactly right here. But look at Christopher Heights in that 21. He's driving up through, using all these guys' saving tires as his big advantage.
Christopher Heights almost making contact with a 5 as they are side by side for 3rd place. Finsler continues to just stay high, and he's just letting everyone else go, not trying to get aggressive, trying to save those tires. But we saw when he stayed high, it didn't last so long for those tires. We've been out there racing for this stint for about 5 laps of Green Flag Racing, now it's time to be a little concerned on how these tires are going to be reacting the harder these guys push, as here comes Heights. He's now challenging for second.
Yeah, he is really pushing this truck right now, and got to be concerned for his tires. But man, he's going out with everything right here in this last race and giving it his all in this 21. What a great run it is showing so far. Let's hope those tires stay underneath him, as he's also got the 25 of Trevor Earhart behind him. And we remember the 25, he was sideways that first run.
Seeing some drivers in the back half of the field having some internet issues. It looks like Marshall Wilson blinking in and out as he is trying to stay low, getting out of the way the fastest as he can. But Marshall, he might be hit by the admins to park his car. With how much he's been blinking, he stays low and goes straight to the back.
Yeah, and when you're blinking that much, it's just a dangerous thing for the rest of the drivers. Good on Marshall to push himself back there and get out of the way of the rest of the field. Racing here on lap 54. Morris holding on to that position. Orlando Jr. holding on to out front. Fensler taking a completely different option. Same with Joe. Both those drivers dropping back pretty far from their top 5 position. I
really like the call by both Joe and Fensler to stay back. I mean, keep yourself within 2 seconds of our leaders, so when their tires drop off, you'll catch up to them almost instantly. It is, like you said, a cat and mouse game of who's going to be aggressive during a run for about 5 to 10 laps. Then they're going to start to fade back, and if you were saving, I mean, continue to wait and save. I mean, we saw that for Loveland. It worked out for him to slowly be patient, and he got his way up front as they were almost thinking about going 3 wide, but looking like Trevor Earhart, someone to watch out for. This is around the time that we started to see him get out of control with the 25 truck. Still questioning how that's going to be working out for himself, but right now, Christopher Heights, he's still trying to charge up to get up to the front. Orlando Jr. loving the side-by-side action because now he's pulling away, but not for very long. He's staying within about a half a second gap.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get too far out there. That definitely means he's pushing a little too hard. But Trevor Earhart, you alluded to the condition he had the first run. I've seen the first few big moments from him already in this run. This 25 definitely on the loose side here tonight and just not coming to grips with that bounce.
Now, Earhart, he's up front. He's in the top 5. Before, he was running around 9th. Wasn't in as much of a calamity situation of being up front with a lot of the heavy hitters. This is a question of some of these guys are going to start to get loose, like Heights, like Earhart. It's going to get really dicey for these guys if they continue to stay side by side, as Summers and Heights still side by side. But I've been seeing Heights getting loose off of turn 2. Got to be careful for this 21.
Yeah, you can see the guys who just pushed hard. It's just starting to slip away from them, and it's not even that far after a restart. I mean, we're, what, 14 laps after the restart, and it's already starting to fall apart for a lot of these guys. 21 of Heights very loose. Here goes Somers past him, but Somers was looking to get past Morris. And here comes Fensler. He's back into the top 5 past that 25 of Trevor Earhart. Next on his list is Heights. Oh, yeah, Earhart hard into the wall.
He was trying to get out of the way for the Professor of Hutzstutler in the 94. He's following just as wherever Jason Fensler goes, so does the 94. As they are making their charge forward, it's, you know, they let everyone else be aggressive on their tires for about 5 to 10 laps. It's time to start getting up front and challenging for the lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's not a better truck out there to follow than that red, black, and yellow number 5. That thing has just been on fire all season, looking for 14 wins possibly here today and a season championship. Oh, man, Heights is drifting. Oh, man, that's Tokyo Drift style right there. Some would call Han.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous, and we knew it was going to come at some point. And now we got a question for Brett Somers, who now moves in battling for second place. 7 truck. He's been side by side with Heights there for quite a while now. He'll be on the inside. Got to be concerned for these guys that are battling hard in our top 2 on back. Where are the state of their tires and how loose are they going to be here for the next 5 to 10 laps?
Wow, Fensler is pretty much pushing Morris through the corners. Here he goes to the inside of the 22. What a move for the 5. He's driving quickly forward as he's going to try to take the second position already after slipping back outside the top 5 to save those tires. He's getting everything out of it here as he's a second back to the leader, Kevin Orlando Jr. The one thing I will say, though, Sam, if he goes out here and pushes too hard in this middle portion of this run, he's going to have that loose condition that he had in that first run just happen a lot later in the run. So he's going to have to watch out here and not push too hard. He's just going to have to let it come to him in small little chunks at a time.
Yeah, I mean, that situation you just touched on is exactly what Loveland did. He was saving his tires for about 20 laps, and then he got really aggressive, and it backfired almost immediately. If you're being patient now and just letting the track and the car come to you, you have to continue that same mentality through the whole entire run, because if at one moment you try to just split the switch and be aggressive, your car is just going to react immediately, and you're just going to get loose after just a lap and a half, and you might not be prepared for that.
Yeah, when it happens so quick, and the balance can change from one lap to the next. So you really got to stay on top of it, keep up with the track, and these drivers are doing their best. That's why it's one of my favorite tracks. It's got so many different variables, and at the moment, watching some great racing transpires. Joe, remember, he dropped back along like Finsler. He's starting to travel forward now as he's going to be past the 7 of Brett Somers and slide himself into the 6.
Brett Somers as well as Christopher Heights, they are now dropping back quickly, could be outside of our top 10 here within the next 5 laps. Those tires are toasted, and they need to figure out how to cool them off and hope that they can get some wear somehow in the middle of all of this. Another driver has parked it for the night. Payne Presley looks like he had another issue. He had already used his fast repair and now is done for the day. Marshall Wilson also got into the wall. Going to be one of the first drivers to pit under green, but had to take a very long pit stop. I think he got caught speeding on entry. So the 23, 2 laps down. We're left with 15 drivers on the lead lap. Kevin Orlando Jr. leading this thing, but side-by-side action as the professor continuing on the same tracks that we've been seeing Jason Finsler go, now up to 3rd for the 94.
Yeah, I tell you what, Huffsteller, he's been doing a fantastic job. He's kind of come out of nowhere, qualified in that 15th position, has drove himself now up in 3rd, just past halfway, and that's the perfect time to do it. Is really our next pit stop is looking to be right around that window opening up around lap 80, maybe a little bit later than that if these guys take it halfway.
Yeah, I mean, lap 80 is looking like 80, 85 is the window for these drivers if they're going to be pushing it as far as they can go after stage 1. And, for some of these guys could have been thinking about turning this last stint into a 2-stopper or maybe even just a 1-stopper on lap, let's say lap 72, 73 is kind of one of those guys that are going to be undercutting the pit stop. Not expecting most drivers to do that because tires seem to be way more important than the fuel.
Yeah, tires are just very, very important here, especially at the Atlanta Motor Speedways. I mean, this track is a cheese grater of a surface. I mean, you're literally just shredding the tires as you run around here. And that's personally what makes it so great, though. That, tracks that don't have tire wear, no bueno for Zach. So definitely we'll take this any day of the week. And loving what these guys are producing here tonight with the Underdog Racing League.
I mean, they are certainly hoping just to survive this race as we're watching Brett Somers continue on his track backwards. Nick Alves now going to be trying to make the pass for 7th and able to do so. And here comes Christopher Heights. He's able to rebound, cool off those tires. And now he'll be going underneath the that of the 7. Another driver that was in the top 5 early in this stint after stage 1. That was Trevor Earhart, and I believe that this driver in this team might be thinking about parking it here today. It just has not been a great day for the 25. Trevor Earhart back to 23rd, and sounding like Dylan Walterman. Right when the window opens up, he's coming into pit road. Actually, he's coming out of pit road right now.
Oh, wow, that's a really early stop for him. I mean, now he ain't going to be able to make it to the end of the race, so unfortunate for Walterman there. He'll have to definitely catch a caution if he wants some type of a chance here. But we got a battle for the lead down the back straightaway. Orlando Jr.'s got a new friend, and that's Jason Finsler. And it looks like Finsler saved those tires pretty well this time. He just drove up, caught this 27 with ease, and looks like he'll make the pass. But no, the 27 fights back on the outside out of 4.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at not this past, I mean, even this past lap, I mean, Jason Finsler's running about 2/10, almost 3/10 faster than what Kevin Orlando Jr. was running. But side by side, that air certainly is probably the biggest factor right now. Is the fresh air actually helping these drivers or hurting them the longer the run goes on? It's Kevin Orlando Jr. getting a little bit squirrely. Luckily held on, almost came down on the 5 as they're side by side coming through 3 and 4. Jason Finsler, he's got to get on the throttle. We've already seen these guys make contact, and there they go again, almost making contact again, as that of Kevin Orlando Jr. has to go high and moving back to second place, almost back to third.
I mean, literally, I could see the 5's door through the whole entire corner. Here comes Orlando Jr. fighting back, but he was dead sideways through 3 and 4. I have no clue how he even made the power down that front straightaway there. That is amazing stuff from that 5. Here comes Huffstutler as Morris is also clawed onto the back of this. We got a Ford truck breakaway, and it's all transpiring before pit stops in the next 15 laps.
We're going to continue to watch this great 4-car battle that's going on right now. I also want to touch note on the fact that Trevor Earhart has come into the pits, but is not going to be using a fast repair. Going to be in pit road for quite a long time for the 25 truck. As still, I think the biggest question is there goes Kevin Orlando Jr. with the save, wandering back up. And those guys that have, like I said, if you are being patient, trying to conserve those tires, you have to continue to do so. Contact with the 22 to the 27. Nate Morris holds on as he's drifting on the high side.
Unfortunate for Morris there. Just some heavy contact from the 27 there to get Orlando Jr. back by him. That's going to lose Nate a lot of time and possibly damage the left side of that truck just a teeny bit. So he's going to have to try to get back by him now, run these two and throw him down because Huffstutler and Finsler, they are flying.
Yeah, I mean, they've been just sticking together like glue since they went. I mean, ever since Finsler dropped back and went back to around 8th place, it's where Huffstutler found the 5 and you went with, you know what, we'll follow and see what the guy who's been winning the most all season long, the guy with 13 wins this season, let's see what he's got so far. As you're sitting on board with that of Huffstutler, just waiting and lingering, and you can just see by the way that steering wheel is reacting. He's not being super aggressive, turning left or right, as Nate Morris has a scare for himself, almost went into the inside wall behind that of the 94. But he's not working the wheel as hard as some of those other drivers were, still just protecting those tires, and he's slowly catching up to Finsler.
Man, and this is very impressive to see. I mean, I was going back right there, Sam, and looking, what his stage 1 kind of was like. Started in that 15th position, he drove all the way up to 6th in that stage. But looking at lap times wise, he was on pace with what pretty much the leaders were doing up front. So we could see this 94 have a good shot at this thing as we're about 10 laps away from pit stops happening.
I mean, he has to just over a little bit of correction there, turning the wheel to the center, a little bit to the right, just slightly. But I mean, with the fact that we're seeing the wheel be pretty steady compared to what we were seeing the drivers during the end of stage 1 were doing, do you think that this is a little bit more of throttle control that's giving the 94 this control in the steering wheel, or is this just him finding something on track?
Well, the track temp has dropped pretty drastically in the last few moments of this race. We're down to about 118, still a hot racetrack, but with rubber also being laid down on most parts of this racetrack, the track is changing. So it should be gaining somewhat of some front grip out there or gaining some rear grip really and losing some front grip. So the truck should tighten up as this race continues to lay rubber down. But how quick will that happen? We'll have to see. Is a lot of guys still suffering from that loose condition. I would mostly put this down, Sam, to how these guys drove it in the early portion of the run.
So we're on board with Jason Finsler, just seeing how he's reacting with coming out of the corners, and he's really working a lot harder on the exit of trying to overcorrect just how much the car wants to slide around on himself, and that's kind of what's been giving Huffstutler these opportunities to just gain a foot, maybe an inch each and every corner, and just keeping it close for himself. But our leaders got to be careful, as they do have a very hungry Trevor Earhart who just got fresh rubber and also believe used his fast repair. Trevor Earhart right on the back bumper of our leaders. Lap traffic now going to be an issue for the leaders on where they need to place themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty big issue here. Once we get into position, looks like that car going to be going to the inside of the leaders and should be able to clear. Yep, and no problems there. But man, the top two, they have definitely driven away from Orlando Jr. now. It's pretty much down to these two if these guys don't make mistakes and do the same thing they can do this run as they did the last run.
Sorry, I just chuckled because Trevor Earhart made the pass on the leaders and immediately coming out of 2, almost lost it under the inside wall, able to continue running along. But Trevor Earhart even showing with fresh rubber, that car is still out of control for himself. Of our top 5, though, first car to come in a lap ago, coming out of pit road now, Nate Moritz. He's going to be a lap down. Could be multiple laps down for the 22. Got to be careful here. Get up to speed and don't ruin that car. And also hope that this race goes green to the end as he is really splitting this stage 2 in half. Hoping that this is the strategy call that's going to give him a big enough lead to not worry about Jason Finsler or Huffstetler later on.
Yeah, that's a pretty sizable undercut. Looks like David Boyle will come down 2 now in the 52. So we'll have to see. Oh, it looks like the lead changing back and forth between the two guys up front as they're dead sideways through the middle of 1 and 2. Huffstetler ahead at one point. But man, it is in the pit window to make it here. But these guys are battling like it's the last lap. You can get distracted here and lose sight on what is going on around you pit strategy wise. These guys got to stick to their game and pit when they decide they need to.
I mean, I like the strategy call of our front 3. I mean, right now, Kevin Orlando Jr. seeing Huffstetler, Finsler battling hard, which is giving him a shot to come back into the scene of things, as he's only about a second back from Huffstetler, about 1.3 seconds back from Finsler. So Kevin Orlando Jr., winner of stage 1, still in contention here to make a charge, as he is still someone that can really, I think, be a spoiler if we start to see our front 2 battling again side by side. But I think for Huffstetler, that was his one gasp of air to try to make a battle for the lead. Now he's got to rebound from making that attempt and using up the tire wear.
Yeah, that is the toughest thing about driving. And oh man, Kevin Orlando Jr.
Oh, he's going into the wall. He hits the wall. Kevin Orlando Jr., the 27. Right before pit stops, we're going to open for himself. Hard contact for the left side, and I thought he had it saved, overcorrected, and sent it right back into the wall. As Kevin Orlando Jr. is just going to come bring it into pit road, he had to now make the undercut. And when he was hoping to just catch up to our leaders and wait until they pitted, maybe go a lap later than them, not going to work out for themselves.
Man, oh man, that is the worst possible scenario for him right before pit stops. Orlando Jr. somewhat throwing away a top 3 there. We'll have to see if he can drive back into position. But he's going to use that fast repair to get the damage fixed, jack that car up on the right side, put the right side tires on him, and get them left sides on next, and he'll be headed back on his way. But the 2 leaders up front still staying out at the moment. Job also staying out. Loveland in 4th and Alves in 5th. And our top 6 still stay out. Nate Morris just getting past the top 5. He'll be unlapping himself.
Also now coming into pit road, John Magner going to be coming in for the 15 when he was in 9th place. But I mean, Zach, these guys have been having a handful all race long, but we got to give credit to them. I mean, yes, we've seen a lot of drivers get into the outside wall, inside wall, and here comes Huffstetler into the pits. He's going to be the first of our front 2. But big credit on the fact that we have been able to stay green. Only yellow of the race has been stage 1 at that stage 1 break. But hard racing going on currently for 2nd place. As like we said, Huffstetler into pit road. Will the undercut work for the 94, or should he have stayed out with the 5?
It's such a tough decision. I personally do not like pitting earlier, and here Finsler, he says, yep, you pit that lap, I'm coming down the next lap. I'm going to have that 1 lap advantage. We'll see if Huffstetler can jump him. That's going to be his biggest thing he wants to do. But man, 1 lap is actually a good difference here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Matt Job, Christopher Heights, they continue to stay out. For both those drivers, they're running so off the pace. I just don't see this as being a gain for themselves. Scott Kerberg also staying out. These top 3 hoping for a caution to wave at some point as the rest of the field into pit road, getting service done. Brett Summers as well into pit road, expecting a lot of drivers to come in, possibly use their fast repair if needed. Green flag is out in the air. James Loveland did use a fast repair. He's open that he's got enough time to try to gain up and catch up to the drivers up front. It's Matt Jobin to pit road.
Looks like Christopher Heights is the driver to stay out this time by, same with Scott Kierberg. So these two continuing on, stretching it farther than the rest of the field. I like this call from them. They're going to have the freshest tires at the end of the run, and they're going to give us some time right now, but they're going to feel like Superman once they put these 4 tires on.
Absolutely. And still, I mean, we've seen a lot of potentials of a yellow coming out, and drivers still looking all right for the field is still up front. Christopher Heights just still staying out for another lap. And same goes to Kierberg as they continue to stay out there. Nate Morris, who pitted early, has a little bit under a 3-second gap lead over that of Jason Finsler. That is the difference between 3rd and 4th. This is the battle that would be for whoever is going to be taking the lead after the pit cycle goes through. Right now, it's still Christopher Heights staying out for another lap for the 21. He's going to stay out as far as he can go. You touched on the fact that maybe around 47 was as long as they can go for themselves. Kierberg comes in on lap 46. Can Christopher Heights make the pit road now?
Yeah, that's the question. Oh, look, he actually does look pretty slow down the back stretch there, as he should be bringing it in this time. Looks to actually be pretty high on the racetrack. Don't know if he'll be bringing it. No. So he'll be stretching, and that's the thing. You know, it depends. Weather is going to change that fuel mileage. Less throttle time going to make better fuel mileage for these guys. And with this hot temperatures, we could be seeing a lot better fuel mileage.
After running a couple of laps, stalling out is actually Jason Finsler and Nate Morris. It's interesting to see how, you know, the fact that Nate Morris was outpitted so much earlier than the 5. They kind of stalled out for a second. I think it's because Finsler had a little bit of a hiccup. Again, new tires, they're cold, still trying to get some heat into the rubber, and once there's heat in it, you're still sliding around like it's you're on ice skates.
And that's the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Heights is definitely pushing this to a different point than anybody else has at this point, man. And he's if he catches a caution, though, this will be beautiful for him.
Absolutely incredible for sure. And also the battling that's going on for 3rd place. Jason Finsler and Hutzstutler, they're lined up once again. I'm wondering if Hutzstutler is going to do the same thing of trying to stay in the tire tracks of the 5 and so later on in a run and make his one and only push for the lead, or if he'll try to make that pass a little bit sooner as Heights still stays high, and it looks like he'll continue to stay out as he's. This is crazy for the 21. The fact that he has stayed out this long, 50 laps in this run, certainly showing that he knows how to save the fuel to get out this far. I mean, right now, 7 drivers on the lead lap. If a caution waves, he's going to be hurting a lot of drivers.
Yeah, and he goes through him for another lap too. So he's making my math look totally off. So something must have changed here in the past couple months, because yeah, that was fuel mileage is not looking that good, not for my engines at least. But Heights must have something special, because he's definitely motoring around here still on fuel. But yeah, looking back at that battle between Finsler and Hutzstutler, Finsler came out, I mean, a country mile ahead of Hutzstutler and even pitted a lap later. So at this point, I think Finsler, he's been able to save a good bit of tire. As Hutzstutler's caught back up, he's started to pick the pace back up, and not too far ahead of him, about 2 seconds up the road, is Nate Morris, as they are quickly encroaching on him about 2 to 3 tenths a lap.
No, Morris, I'm still keeping my eye out on him, as you've got your eye on the battle for 3rd place. He's now showing indications. He's low. He's touching the apron. Christopher Heights coming into pit road, and it was certainly a run for the ages. Able to stretch it out to the start of lap 53. Just could not get that caution that he wanted. This is going to be making him lose a lot of ground, probably too much ground to try to catch up, even with fresh tires.
Yeah, that's going to be the big issue for him. The biggest thing for him is if he cycles through here, he doesn't go a lap down with the cycle. Then if he gets a caution, then he can just track position all the way back up. So he's going to need a caution pretty quickly, but he's just got to hope he's on that lead lap at that point.
Well, I was going to say this earlier if Christopher Heights went into the pits sooner, but we're now cycled through. We're now going to be taking a quick commercial break. It will be side-by-side action, so you won't miss a thing. But here on the Freaky Fast Broadcasting, it's the final race here for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series. We know who our championship driver is. It's that man, the 5 truck of Jason Finsler. The question is, who's going to win this thing as the battle for the lead heats up? We'll be right back in a few. Keep yourself here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. They were battling for the lead. That was Nate Morris, Sean Hutzler, and Jason Finsler. Yeah, if you were watching the side-by-side action at our commercial break, absolute calamity. I mean, this is wild. This is the final race of the season. Jason Finsler, his car is ripped up from a chance of winning this race to now just limping along in fourth. What a wild change of circumstances here, Zach. What happened?
Man, I'm questioning that too. It seemed like some contact between Huffstutler and the 5 of Jason Finsler, and from there everything broke loose. Huffstutler really struggling with or not Huffstutler, sorry. He actually had to bring it down pit road. The 5 of Jason Finsler, our champion, really struggling with the right side of that truck, and it looks like here in the closing 14 laps, he may still possibly have a chance for a top 3, but those chances are locally closing out because just how much damage is done to that 5 machine.
Yeah, and we got to see a couple of great shots of looking at this 5 truck in iRacing. You got to see all the new content that's iRacing's rolling out, and also some hidden things that have been put in, new damage models, as just you can see there, the inside of the truck ripped apart is that left side. And you gotta love the fact that iRacing always updating, making the graphics better in every certain way. But yeah, touching on Sean Hutzler coming into pit road, he has parked it for the day, all as well as Trevor Earhart and Marshall Wilson. And in front of them, Nate Morris now into the wall, and now going to the inside wall is Kevin Orlando Jr. Calamity for second to third.
Whoa. What is this race is going crazy.
Well,
Morris back into the top 3.
What is going on? Matt Job now going to be 2.1 seconds back, but we are slowly ticking away all of the laps here. 12 laps to go, and seeing all the drivers and all their fiasco that happened, James Loveland is our leader. Driver I touched on when tire wear matters. He finds himself up front, and you know, he used this fast repair during his green flag pit stop, got fresh rubber. And sometimes you need just a little bit of luck if you're going to win some races, and James Loveland certainly got it with our top 3 having such issues that they did, putting the 56 out front, and then no one is even close to him except for lap traffic, which he has easily dealt with. That of Dylan Walterman now going 1 lap down.
I mean, this is great for him. The guy who had the worst playoffs, 10th in the standings, is going to go out here and win tonight, possibly with 11 to go. I am not saying it's a win yet, because if any caution happens, we're coming down pit road getting 4 fresh tires, and Finsler's also using a fast repair.
I mean, it just keeps on evolving, right? There's been so many times the drivers should have brought out a yellow, and we still have not seen it. The only yellow we have had was for the end of stage 1. Ever since then, it has been drivers wrecking on the apron, not on the racing surface, not bringing out a yellow at all. And now the question of where is everyone going to lie? Still incredible the fact that James Loveland is up front, a lead of 4.2 seconds, and he's got the freshest tires out there of all of the drivers out in our top 5. So no question about it. Loveland is in the catbird seat, should be able to just pull away and win this thing. As 9 laps to go. What a finale for this thing. We thought it was going to be between Kevin Orlando Jr. and Jason Finsler.
Yeah, and look at this. Look at we're focusing on the 89 of Job. He's going forward quickly with 9 to go. He's running actually about 3/10 quicker than our leader, actually, too. So, man, that's impressive lap times from here. He's looking to break in for a possible first top 3 finish of the season for us 89.
First top 3, and could be finishing in 2nd place if he can somehow weasel his by through past the 5, who is going to be just staying as high as possible. Heavily damaged is Finsler, and also for Matt Job, he's got 1 lap fresher tires than the 5, but it's more so of that damage, as the lap machine could be a pick to help out the 5 to hold off Job for just an extra lap.
Yeah, we'll have to see here as he slides up behind the 5 here. This is going to help Orlando Jr. as much time as he's going to get held up here, especially with Walterman on the bottom. We'll see what Joe can do. Can he go directly to the bottom and get this done? That's going to be my question. He drives that 89 down there, and looks like will not clear the 5 this time. So, yeah, definitely not going to be able to get that pass done yet.
Not done yet. 7 laps, about to be 6 laps to go. Matt Job, he's the driver to watch out for because the longer he stays side by side, the longer and the bigger the gap gets between himself and the 27 of Kevin Orlando Jr., who's just looking to weasel his way with the second place after all the carnage that we saw under commercial break. That's when a lot of the big damage happened for Jason Finsler, and he's now back to 4th place. Our championship winner, luckily he already locked in the championship for even the start of this race, but I know that he was hoping to get another win notched on that belt.
I tell you what, a driver that may actually thinking about be kicking himself after this race, Sam, is Orlando Jr. He's up the second, back up the second there, 4.5 seconds back. He's actually been turning lap times pretty comparable to our leader, quicker the last time by, this time about a 10th slower. But with 5 to go, I mean, he literally got so loose on the 2, smacked the wall, had to take the fast sprayer and go really slow around that apron. He definitely lost more than 4.5 seconds in that little incident there. If that wouldn't have happened, we could have been looking at this 27 man out front.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is one of the things that has to get frustrating, is seeing some of those mental mistakes that you had earlier in the race that cost you a potential chance for the win, or even a chance to just battle for a chance there. And it probably messed up his timing of when he wanted to actually come into pit road, because I would imagine that Orlando Jr. kind of wanted to pit at the same time that we were seeing Finsler and that of Huttstutler coming to pit road. And gosh, what a change of events in our final 20 laps of this race. You thought it was set in stone. It was between that of Huttstutler and that of Jason Finsler. But just in one fell swoop, both of our favorites to win this thing with 20 laps to go, one's out of this thing in 14th for that of the Professor of Huttstutler, and the other's just trying to stay in the top 5 if possible. Right now, Finsler, he's been passed by Nick Alves. He's making a pretty good charge for himself. For Matt Job, I don't think he's close enough to make the pass for second place, but he's going to get as close as he can. 3 laps to go. Soon to be 2 laps to go. James Loveland, what a charge for himself, looking for his 4th win of the season. And for the 56, what a wild season it's been. Missed a couple of playoff races that really didn't give him a shot to challenge for a championship here, but certainly finished off on a high note.
Yeah, finishing on a high note here, Sam, through 3 and 4 for the penultimate time tonight. Going to be looking to take that white flag, looking for a 4th victory. May not be a championship, as Finsler's going to be looking for his last lap of the season to make him the champion. Let's see what Loveland can make it back, as he's only got 1.5 miles left.
Doesn't have to get aggressive. Don't make yourself throw this race away. Coming out 2, looking smooth for that of James Loveland. During stage 1, he pancaked the wall. It set him back to 10th place. It's been a complete workaround, but James Loveland, he is going to be able to finish this thing coming out of turn 4. The final race of the truck season for the Underdog Racing League goes to James Loveland, winning here at Atlanta. But winning the championship in 5th place for the 5 truck, it's going to be Jason Finsler winning the truck championship, and an absolute scrap of a truck here tonight. He's ready to throw this one away.
Oh, man, he'll take it, though. And I'll tell you, another driver's got to be happy. Definitely Matt Job. Top 3 finish for himself. Great way to end the season for that 89.
Get to talk to Matt Job. Also get to talk to Kevin Orlando Jr., James Loveland. I mean, all of them. Bunch of storylines coming out of this race. And for Jason Finsler, finishing in 5th place, another top 5 and top 10 for the record books for himself. But for the 56, he gets to burn it down and have some fun out there. James Loveland capping off the season with a win here at Atlanta. His 4th of the season. And man, what a way that this season finished up. We will be right back to talk to James Loveland, Kevin Orlando Jr., and Matt Job in just a few.
All right, we're back here, everyone, with our post-race interviews tonight after the Underdog Racing League has concluded their Truck Series season with Jason Finsler, your champion. But first, let's have a chat with our third-place man in tonight's race, Matt Job. First third-place finish of the season, top 3 finish for him of all season. Let's see what he has to say. Hey, Matt, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
I do, Zach. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, Matt. I'll tell you what, buddy, what a great race for you tonight. First top 3 of the season for you, buddy. And a very quiet but very strong race for you, man. You definitely let the long runs come to you. Kind of take us through your race, though, because you definitely had a great truck on them long runs.
Yeah, I did. First of all, though, I know you were out last week, so I won't hold it against you, but I got third last week, too. So.
Oh, man.
But anyway, I just was focused on the first 15, 20 laps, just saving tires, just letting everybody go by and use their stuff up. And after that, I was able to start getting back by guys, and some guys had some trouble. So, it worked out there at the end. A few more laps, I might have got up second, but I'll definitely take third.
Yeah, definitely very close to getting that second place finish, man. Sorry about that. And, it turns out I would be not here the week that you did get third. So sorry about that. Definitely got to do my research next time before I start a fact like that, man. But I tell you what.
I'm not usually up there, so I don't blame you.
Hey, man, well, I tell you always looking good on the long runs. That's one thing we definitely bring up here all the time. That 89 looks really strong. But, man, I think you slid up into the third place position in points also with, I believe, Ian Baker not being here. And I know Trevor Earhart had a pretty bad race, so you possibly could be close to second, but it's looking like third, man. How about a top 3 finish also in the season points? How's that feel?
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if I really deserve it. Some guys missed a few playoff races, so I would have finished, I might have been able to get up to a top 5 if everybody was there, but I'm definitely overall, when I started the season, I didn't expect to my goal was to just make the playoffs, so I was happy I was able to do that, and, just running well here in the playoffs has just been a bonus.
It definitely has been, Matt. Well, congrats on third here tonight, man, at Atlanta. That's 2 top 3 finishes in a row for you, buddy. Before we let you get out of here and end the season off, anybody wants to shout to?
Yeah, I got in trouble last week because I didn't shout out my daughter Kendall. So hopefully she's watching, or she'll be watching it. So hi to her, and also my wife Colleen, who is actually 8 months pregnant right now with twin girls. So wanted to say hi to both of them.
Awesome, man. Congrats on that, and congrats on the great family you got there, buddy. And you have a great night, Matt, and we'll hopefully catch you next season.
Yeah, good job all year, guys. Appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you too, Matt. So you have a great night, buddy.
All right, thanks.
All right, that was Matt Job there, your third place finisher here tonight in that 89 machine. Glad to get to talking with him. First time I've heard that voice, so I always enjoy a first time interview. But let's go ahead and move on to our second place man. Maybe the one probably kicking himself the most out of all these drivers is this 27 after winning stage 1. Had an incident there late in the going, but was able to rebound for second. Let's hear what his thoughts are. Hey, Kevin, it's Zach up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
Hey, man, well, I'll tell you what, a great win there in stage 1. And then there at the end, man, able to get all the way back to second after that unfortunate mistake. And I got to ask you, how much are you kicking yourself for making that little mistake coming out of 2 there, getting that damage? Because I feel like that possibly could have been your chances at a win here too tonight.
Oh, yeah, we were running up front up until that point, and, the truck just hooked out of 2, and it just, once it got down below that white line, there was just nothing I could do about it. I had no control over the direction of that thing, so was able to time that decently. I didn't lose too much ground because I was able to limp it around to the pits and get that taken care of with my green flag pit stop there. But yeah, no, I really think if that didn't happen, I would have had a really good shot at taking this win.
Yeah, man, it was a great battle up front all night. We've seen comers and goers, guys, 7 tires, guys using every bit of those tires. But one common thing we did see is it seemed like a great battle up front really all night, just slipping and sliding back and forth. take us through those battles you went through, because it was definitely looking pretty loose out there, and you guys were just having a great time slide jobbing on each other.
Oh yeah, no, it was real loose out there. It was a lot of fun. As soon as someone would get up on your tail, it would take all the air off and you'd lose all rear grip. That's how you saw a lot of the runs go. That was pretty much the only way to pass, because just trying to dive to the inside, there wasn't enough speed down there to actually make a pass work. And no one was giving up the outside coming out of the turn, so you had to get the guy in front of you loose in order to really get around him. That's pretty much how it went. Every few laps, someone get up on someone else's tail, and that would be enough to slow him down, enough to make her move.
Well,
It was a lot of fun, though.
Oh, it definitely looked like a lot of fun from my seat. I can tell you that much. It definitely was great to see the trucks out there very sideways tonight, and you guys having a tough time, man. So great way to end the season for the league here, and a great way to head into the next season, man, after Atlanta. So congrats on second here tonight, Kevin. Before we let you go, though, man, anybody wants to send a shout out to?
I am just fried after that race. I have no idea.
Well, man.
I didn't have like a second to breathe in. It was just constant battles out there. I have no idea even what to say right now. So just thanks to the league for, this great season. All the drivers out there for, making this as fun and clean as it is. I think, did we go green all the way through there? I don't remember having a caution other than a stage break. So that's pretty impressive for a track with the trucks driving that bad.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. You guys put on one well of a show for us, so we cannot appreciate you guys enough on the track, man, and we cannot wait to be back here next season, man. So you have a great night, Kevin, and we'll hopefully catch you next season, buddy.
All right, have a good night, guys. Thank you.
All right, that was your second place finisher of Kevin Orlando Jr. at 27. But look at this. What a rebound for the 56. He's going to finish near the bottom end of the playoff standings, but he's going to bring home his fourth win of the season. Let's hear from James Lovell. Hey, James, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man?
I got you.
Hey, man, well, I'll tell you what, a great way to end the season for you. I know not the playoffs you wanted, man, but how does it feel to come out of here with a victory, especially a bounce-back victory like that?
Yeah, pretty surprising, actually. I just came in to have fun and race with these guys, one more race for the season. And, just happened to be fortunate enough that two leaders got into each other and just cruised to victory lane.
Yeah, man, we've seen in that first stage, you really charged to the front there about midway through, and about lap 30 with about 10 to go in that stage. It seemed like from there, it just did not go right for you, and we've seen a lot of guys struggling with the rear end of these cars. Now, you got that clean air. Do you feel like that had some type of effect on your car, or you just feel like that was something that was very common for a lot of guys out there tonight?
It was probably common. I was trying different things in the beginning of the stage. I was going low, middle, high, just to see if I can get any little advantage. And I actually, later in the stage, I overcorrected and hit the wall, screwed up my car, so I was down on aero or power for a little bit. And I was just I had to cruise behind some guys in the draft just to keep up, but ended up still working out. I used a fast repair in that last pit stop and still managed to be up front.
Well, man, you definitely saved that fast repair for the right time, and you got it done here tonight for your fourth win of the season. So congrats on that, James. And before we head off and end the season, man, and let you get out of here, anybody wants to send a shout out to?
Yeah, shout out to you guys. Great season of broadcasting. Definitely look forward to next season. I believe you guys are broadcasting. And also to the Underdog League. This was a great league, great group of guys, and it was a fantastic season. They're really hard racers and fun racers to race with, and look forward to next season in Xfinity, which will definitely be a little better for me. I'm not the greatest in the truck series, but I like the Xfinity cars.
Yeah, I think that'll be a whole different beast for you guys for sure. So cannot wait to get to that next season. James, congrats on the win here tonight, man, and may you carry that win over with some momentum to that next season, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night. All right, that was James Lovewood, your 56 truck here tonight, your winner here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sam, that was so close between our top battlers, but Lovewood comes out of it with the win after Hustler and Finsler trying to have a boo-boo on each other.
Oh yeah, I mean that was trying to take out your competitor, but in the worst way possible. I mean, the rules are if you're going to wreck someone, make sure you're not involved when you have to wrecking them. But it did not work out for that of Finsler or for Huttstutler, but the driver that lucked into this win has to be James Loveland, winning here tonight, with Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be in second place, Matt Job in third, Nick Alves in fourth, and Jason Finsler in fifth place, our Trucks Championship winner here for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series. I mean, a huge congratulations to the five. He talked last week about this. This is actually his first league that he's been a part of in dominant. Now the whole entire iRacing world gotta be a little worried of what Finsler has if he starts joining other leagues. Then in sixth place, you got that of Christopher Heights, Nate Morris in seventh, with Brett Summers, David Boyle, as well as Justin Stunner finishing in 11th. And a lot of drivers. Last car left on the lead lap was John Magner, and you know, Scott Kerberg, Dylan Walterman, they finished out the race. But then everyone else, Sean Huttstutler, Earhart, Wilson, Presley, Murphy, they just did not have the race that they wanted, DNFing for all of them. And Zach, what a season it's been. Drama finishing out the final race of the season, but certainly excitement everywhere we looked.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't ask for more. It was a fantastic season here at the Underdog Racing League. I learned so much. I mean, Jason Finsler, like you said, for a first timer in a league, that is a scary thought for a lot of leagues out there if this man starts traveling around. So we'll have to see, because that guy is a force to be reckoned with. And just the overall league here, man, these guys have been fantastic. Great races throughout the whole entire season. And not only that, definitely getting the chance to broadcast with you, Sam. It's been a pleasure, man, and can't appreciate you enough for coming up here and doing this season with me.
Yeah, I mean, I came in halfway, and it has just been a blast watching these guys day in and day out. I think I came in around Knoxville for dirt track racing, and it's been fun watching these guys and the way that some of them have been evolving. I mean, Matt Job, how he's been getting better and better each race, and also the consistency that Kevin Orlando Jr. started to bring in, as well as for Loveland. But overall, the dominance from Finsler to win out this season. And it was such a fun one, Zach, working with you on Wednesday nights. I don't believe I'll be back for next season, but Freaky Fast Broadcasting is excited for the next season, Xfinity driving for the Underdog Racing League. It's going to be a fun time for those guys. I believe that starts in about 2 weeks for these guys, which is going to be fun. But for us tonight, Zach, what are some of your final words?
Well, final words got to be, first off, congrats to Jason Finsler. What a great season. You deserved it. You're a champion, and definitely cherish this moment, because when you win a championship, you kind of glance over it and try to go to the next day, and you kind of forget about it, but you're a champion. You worked hard for it, so definitely take that all in. And then to the rest of the league, it's just been a fantastic season. Thank you, drivers, for putting on the show.
It was an ultimate show. It was a heck of a darn time. And next season should be a blast. But for Zach Hall and myself, Sam Dyer, we're going to throw it up to our third man, our producer up in the booth, Robert Moyer Jr., to finish out the call.
All right. Thank you, guys. I just want to give a couple thank yous out. Just echo what you guys said here, Sam and Zach. One, Sam, thank you for a great season here with Underdog Racing League. We do much appreciate it here at Freaky Fest. You call some great action-packed racing with these guys and Zach Hall and everybody else that filled in when a couple guys had, their vacation days and things like that, or had to take off. So we do much appreciate that. But just to let everybody know, Sam is not going nowhere. Sam is still going to be part of Freaky Fast Broadcasting other nights. So make sure you check out those other nights that he broadcasts with the other guys on Thursday nights, Saturday nights, and Monday nights, as we're ending Monday, actually. And we'll be off a couple Mondays until August, and then Sam and me will be up in the booth, or maybe we'll have somebody else new. We'll have to see where that goes. I also want to thank you, Underdog Racing League, for letting Freaky Fast be a part of this broadcast, and part of the league for us to broadcast them. It's been great. It's been a long season. Jason, you're one dominant guy, man. If you go back and watch this, like they said, any other league out there, and you start branching out to other leagues, people might want to put a bounty on you or something, or pay attention to what you do, because you're a very talented guy and very fast guy out there. And then the rest of everybody here at this league. Great racing, Kevin and all of them, and Jason and Justin and all them. We do much appreciate it. But like they said, we won't be back for 2 weeks. We will be doing their Xfinity series. So next week we'll be off as they do some recruiting. So if you're the first time watching this and think that you want to come out and join these guys on Wednesday night, make sure you look them up at Underdog Racing League on iRacing's league portal, or check them out on the Facebook page at Underdog Racing League, and they would more than willing to help you direct you in the right direction to get you into this league and have some fun, action-packed racing here. But I know Sam's got to pack up his stuff and get off to his next broadcast. So with that being said, tomorrow night we'll be at Las Vegas with Stars and Stripes at 9:20. We will go live Eastern. So make sure you tune in tomorrow night. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. But until tomorrow night, everybody have a great Wednesday. Until then, God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.
Bye, everybody.